The high-stakes meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska aims to address the ongoing war in Ukraine. While Trump is optimistic about achieving a breakthrough, Putin is also seeking for nuclear arms control agreement. Hoping to have a good meeting with Putin, Trump says he hopes to save many lives, while emphasizing that a second meeting with Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be more crucial.
I'm doing it for that reason. We have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. You know, I've solved 6 wars in the last.
Finalizing the details of the upcoming summit in Alaska, Putin held a meeting with his close associates, praising Trump administration's efforts to end the Ukraine crisis. Putin hoped the two leaders could reach an agreement on nuclear arms control in safeguarding world peace.
The current American administration is making quite energetic and sincere efforts to stop the hostilities, stop the crisis, and reach agreements that are of interest to all parties involved in this conflict, in order to create long-term conditions for peace both between our countries and in Europe and in the world as a whole, if at the next stage we reach agreements in the area of control over strategic offensive weapons.
According to Putin's aide, both leaders will hold a one-on-one session with interpreters who will be present there, followed by delegation talks and a working breakfast. The Russian delegation will include senior officials such as Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Defense Minister Andrei Belosov, and Finance Minister Anton Silonov, accompanied by expert teams. After the talks, Putin and Trump will hold a joint news conference to summarize the negotiation results. The Kremlin says the agenda will largely focus on Ukraine peace talks, with broader global security and economic cooperation also being discussed. Meanwhile, hundreds of demonstrators gathered in Anchorage in Alaska to demonstrate the meeting between Trump and Putin. While some expressed disappointment over the exclusion of Zelensky at the meeting, many expressed skepticism about the summit's potential to bring any kind of peace in Ukraine.
The idea that this war criminal and felon and what we're now calling the American president is here together. The fact that Putin is in this country at all, and the fact that Trump thinks he can negotiate anything. He can't negotiate himself out of a paper bag. The fact that they're here has me here objecting.
Ahead of the Alaska summit, Russia and Ukraine have conducted a prisoner exchange, releasing 84 captives from each side. The swap was mediated by the United Arab Emirates. Russian Defense Ministry said that the freed Russian service members will receive medical treatment and rehabilitation in Russian military facilities. And well, with all eyes on the Putin-Trump summit in Alaska, WION spoke with a slew of experts on possible outcome of the Alaska summit and if they think a ceasefire deal can be reached upon. Listen in.
The current tactical advantage that the Russians have achieved near Pokrovsk is one that is a fairly tenuous one. It's one that the Ukrainians probably have the capability to push back, and it is indicative of a seesawing of the battlefield. The incremental advances that Russia has been able to achieve in the last few months have been at a huge expense materially and in terms of people's lives lost and maimed. So the strip of land that's been captured recently through infiltration tactics and adaptation of use of drones in an innovative way has given them some confidence. But as I say, it's a very tenuous hold, and the Russians have not demonstrated the ability to actually master the full spectrum of offensive and then grab and hold, defensive and counterattack tactics and techniques to hold off a counterattack from Ukraine, mindful that this is quite a narrow strip of land, and Ukraine has a big stake in making sure that they get pushed back.
I don't think it would be enough to get a peace now either, because in the Ukrainian constitution, the whole of Ukraine is undividable. But in the Russian constitution, it's the same, and they have annexed Zaporizhzhia, Kherson, and Donetsk, Luhansk. So they can't leave it, but it could become a ceasefire so that the front line were frozen. At least they could start discussions about a ceasefire. I believe that Russia would like to continue its rather successful offensive for at least a week more.
In the immediate aftermath of the Putin-Trump meeting, there will be a discussion with Zelensky, a discussion with Europeans. Will the Ukrainians be somewhat more willing to compromise, to work with Trump and Russia to get a deal if they're losing ground in eastern Ukraine? Yes. I think this breakthrough is an important development in the overall diplomatic landscape. The Ukrainians do face manpower shortages. They do face weapons shortages. And this breakthrough is a sign of the asymmetries that exist on the battlefield. So the timing is not good for Zelensky because it weakens his hands when it comes to a possible land swap in eastern Ukraine, as well as the overall nature of the deal that's struck, particularly what is the status, what is the independence, what is the sovereignty of the 80% of Ukraine that is likely to remain on the other side of any ceasefire line, the part of Ukraine still controlled by Ukrainians.